Is it possible to pass your PMP with no study at all? I'm David McLaughlin, and over the last year, I've helped more than 30,000 people pass their PMP through my Udemy course and YouTube videos. In fact, hundreds of thousands of people have watched my YouTube videos and millions over the last few years. And what I've found for people who have passed their PMP, they have 5 things in common when they're taking the PMP test. It's a test strategy. You can use this test strategy and it will significantly increase your chances of passing the PMP. So do you want to know what they are? I'm going to go through them here, but it's also part of my course, my Udemy course. So if you do use these 5 tips to pass the PMP exam, people have been absolutely raving about it, but let's get into these 5 tips right now. And the first thing we need to know is just the way that the questions are structured. So when you're taking the PMP exam, the majority of the questions are going to be scenarios. So scenario-based questions, multiple choice with 4 different answers, usually 1, 2, 3, or 4. And something is going wrong in this scenario, and we need to solve the scenario using our project management and people skills. So 2 or 3 answers will often seem to be correct, and we have to choose the most correct answer. Now that is why the PMP exam is so difficult and so hard. 1, project management is quite hard already, but when you have something going wrong and 2 or 3 answers are seemingly correct, then it just adds to how difficult this exam really is. But we can help that with these 5 PMP test strategy tips. And here they are. You're going to love this. The first one, because it's so simple as well, anyone can do it. And also, some people know the material inside and out, but they're just not good at taking tests. That was the case with me. I got nervous and I didn't manage my time and I couldn't focus properly. And so these 5 tips really helped me as well. The first one is read the question and highlight all the key words. Everything you need to know is going to be in the question. So always assume that all the information is there. There's no extra or hidden information that you can't see. It's all in the question. So highlight the key words in that question. And we do that to figure out if the project is predictive, agile, or hybrid. So if we've got keywords like change control or predictive risk management processes, management reserves or contingency reserves, that's probably going to be a predictive sequential project. And we'll answer that a little bit differently to an agile project. So the keywords we might have is like product owner or iterations or product reviews, sprints, definition of done, definition of ready, all of these things, Kanban and Kanban boards. These are your keywords for agile questions. And hybrid, we'll have a couple of questions in there about hybrid processes where we've got a little bit of predictive and a little bit of agile. So when we highlight the keywords, we just want to figure out, is it predictive, is it agile, so that we can answer it appropriately. And then once we've done that, determine which topic or principle from the PMBOK the question is addressing. Is it about risk? Is it about procurement? Is it about change control or something else? What is it about in the question? What is it asking us to do? And we can highlight those words as well. And then we just strike through any answers that don't directly address that project methodology or the PMBOK principle that you identified. For example, if the question is about risk, then we can get rid of the answers that are about procurement or change control. And now, if we select one of the remaining answers, we've got a much higher chance of success. Maybe there's only 2 left to choose from, and it's much easier for us to see which one directly answers that question. Those 5 tips alone can help people pass the PMP exam. Now, there's 2 extra ones that we do need to know, and that is to make sure that you answer every question. So just in case, because if you don't answer it, you can't get the points for it. So always make sure you answer every question. Flag the ones that you're unsure of. You can always come back to it later, and you might get hints from future questions or future answer options. So that's always good. And the last one is know your timing. You have 230 minutes for 180 questions. That gives us about 1 minute and 15 seconds for each question. Now, it's split into 3 sections. You'll get 2 10-minute breaks if you need them. For the first 60 questions, you should have around 155 minutes remaining. And once you're up to 120 questions, you should have around 80 minutes remaining. So manage your time. Make sure you try and stick within that 1 minute and 15 seconds. That's part of the challenge. And because there are so many as well, keeping your focus for that entire time is extremely important. But that's the last tip. Now, we've got those 7 amazing tips. Do they actually work? Can we put these together? Let's go through a PMP question and just see if we can use this methodology to see how it works. So you're working as a product owner in an agile team. Now here's our keyword already. We've got a product owner and it's an agile team. So it's probably going to be agile questions. During a recent risk review, that's a promising keyword, the team have uncovered various risks that will impact your project. You brainstorm risk responses with your team, and the project customer would like them to be mitigated as soon as possible. So it's asking us to mitigate them as soon as possible. It's about risk, and it's risk in agile. So already we have some amazing clues here. What are we going to do next? Now, do we ask our team to work on the risk responses and get them done as soon as possible? Well, we want them to be mitigated as soon as possible, so that's quite a good one. We'd put that as a high maybe for that one. It's not agile specifically, but let's see. Ignore the risks initially. Some of these risks may dissipate over time and only the important ones will be left. Now this is definitely no, because we want to be mitigating them as soon as possible. What is it asking us to do? Assign the risk responses to all stakeholders around your project team to share the load. Is that agile? Is it a risk process? And does it mitigate those risks? Not really. So I'm going to put that as, we can get rid of that. We can strike through it like we were talking about, that one and this one as well. So that just leaves 2. Let's check out this last one. Prioritize the risks by comparing the expected monetary value of the risk to the anticipated return on investment of upcoming deliverables. Wow. Okay. Now that's a mouthful, but do you know what that is? That is our risk adjusted backlog. So we're adjusting the backlog for risks, the impact of the risks versus the value of the deliverables, and we're prioritizing them in our agile backlog. The risk-adjusted backlog is an agile way of working for risk, and we're mitigating them as soon as possible because we're prioritizing them. So all of a sudden, this becomes the clearest answer. Let's go with answer D. And there it is. So in this way, this method has truly helped us with a PMP question just by highlighting the keywords, figuring out if it's agile, predictive, or hybrid, and figuring out the PMBOK idea that we're talking about, and figuring out what the question is asking us to do. Amazing, amazing stuff. Now, that could have been a fluke, so let's just quickly try one more and see if we can actually do this, see if it works. Let's get this right in our heads and really, really get this good. This is really going to help you when you're passing the PMP exam. So you're planning a project where supply chains have been impacted, okay, and the requirements are complex and intertwined with other areas of the business. All right. Do you see any PMBOK principles yet? Maybe requirements. Your project sponsor asks you to manage these risks. Okay, well, here we go. That's what they're asking us to do. Manage these risks before the project moves to execution. That's pretty clear. And what are we going to do next? It doesn't say agile specifically. It doesn't say predictive specifically. Before the project moves to execution. So perhaps that's more predictive. We've got initiating, and then planning, and then executing, and then monitoring and controlling, and then closing. Remember those process phases in the PMBOK guide. So potentially a predictive project. Okay, we've got some clues. Move the project to execution so you can work through the risks as they happen. Well, the project sponsor wanted us to do it before it moves to execution, so that's a big no. Remember? So that's already a clue. Move to an agile way of work so you can deliver faster and also deal with the complexity. Does that solve our problem? Not necessarily, not directly. And also we're already working in a predictive project. So you might do a hybrid, but usually we won't completely switch. So that's also a no. Note the risks with appropriate controls and add a contingency reserve in the project budget. Contingency reserve does handle risks, so that's important. We need to know that. and all of a sudden that keyword matches up with what we're trying to do. So could be good. Let's check the last one just in case. Assign a management reserve. Okay, now all of a sudden this one can be a no, because management reserve is for unforeseen scope, but a contingency reserve is definitely for risks. So we're highlighting this word risks. It's a predictive project, risks. That uses a contingency reserve. So all of a sudden, answer C becomes our absolute best idea here. Let's check it out. And there it is. We did it. Just using those 5 simple steps. The PMP test strategy. Amazing stuff. Now, this is part of the PMP Fast Track, which is also in my Udemy course. The PMP Fast Track is the fastest way to get up to speed. It's under an hour, and people have used only that to study and pass for the PMP once they have their 35 contact hours, of course. But I really recommend checking out the Udemy course and the PMP Fast Track. You won't regret it. It will truly take your study and your project knowledge to the next level. This has been a whole bunch of fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.